Alright drum studs, it's time for another video about fundamentals. Today we talk about stroke types. When we break it down, there are really only a finite number of things that we can do with our drumstick. And depending on who you ask, that could be 3, 4, 5, and sometimes 6 different things. In this video, we're going to talk about one of those things, and that is the series stroke. In my opinion, understanding the series stroke is the most important of the 3 main stroke types. If you feel like you understand the series stroke, your next step is to move on and learn the other 2 main stroke types, the downstroke and the upstroke. Once you have these 3 main stroke types mastered, we can then move on to accessory stroke types such as a press, a buzz, or a diddle. When talking about stroke types, we typically are talking about 2 things. Where does the stroke start and where does the stroke end? In this case, the series stroke is going to start in an up position. It's going to contact the drum and immediately go back to the exact same position. There will be no delay, no second note, no extra anything. It's going to go straight down and straight back up. Wherever I start is going to be the same as where I finish. So if I start here, I'm going to come back to here, or at least extremely close. When I start students on percussion, we typically spend a lot of time really refining our series stroke technique because we're able to play a lot of music using just series strokes. That means when we play all of our exercises in the beginning, we always start with our stick in the air and we play back to the air. My reason for students learning the series stroke first is because it is the foundation for everything that we will do. I really want to make sure that my beginners have a good understanding of how the stick should work moving down and up out of the drum. Let's talk about some things to look out for when you're using the series stroke. I'm going to use this bed frame here in the back as a reference point. I'm going to start my stick here as close as I can to in line with that bed frame. The first thing I see most new students do when playing a series stroke, or really any stroke, is they'll start by trying to prep the note, and they will lift the stick up. But we don't want that lift. Our goal is always to reduce extra motion. We're trying to be lazy here. The lazier we are, the more productive we are as far as the way our motion works. So we're going to start here, and that means our first motion is going to be straight down. Okay? So you've got to be able to control yourself and not go up, down. Okay? You kind of think of it as a breath sometimes, and that's going to make you move up. Don't let that happen. Start at one place, leave it there, go exactly down first, not up and then down. The next most common mistake students have when learning the series stroke is just after contacting the drum. A couple of things can go wrong here. A lot of students will try to put a pause at the bottom of their stroke type, and they're actually stopping the stick from doing what it wants to do. So if you start here and you hit the drum, as soon as you strike the drum, it's going to want to bounce back up, and you've got to let it do that, and then you catch it back at your starting height. So I'm going to show you what that looks like a couple of times. You go down, up, and then you freeze. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Not up, down, and not up, down, rest. Okay? I'm always coming back to the same place, or at least trying to. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Here's what it would look like if a student was trying to do what's called a downstroke technique. Notice the stick has fallen and stayed down and not come up. A lot of times students will do that on accident and then try to lift it into place. And it puts a little bit of a hitch in their motion. It would look like this. Okay? Or it might look like this. That slow lift is going to get in the way of plaster playing in the future. So we want to try to eliminate that. Another way students struggle with the series stroke is by pressing the stick into the drum. When you press the stick into the drum, it'll make a buzz sound. And that does not follow our rule for series strokes where it starts up and it ends up, because that would be starting up and ending on the drum head. Allow the stick to bounce up and have the students relax and let the stick do what it wants to do. If I was to let go of the stick, it would fly up on its own. I'm merely allowing that to happen and then stopping it where I want it. You can watch, I'm going to do that without stopping it. And you can see it comes all the way back to here when I let go. The series stroke should be smooth and fluid and should always start and end in the same place. Other stroke types will allow you to start and end in different places, but not the series stroke type. It always comes back to where it begins. A lot of directors will divide the series stroke into 2 categories. First one will be anything that is of a louder volume. So for example, the one we've been doing, starting here and coming back to here. But they'll also call a low version taps. So if you're starting down here and you tap the drum and come right back, they call that a tap. But really it's just a series stroke because it started here, you went into the drum, you came out of the drum, and you stopped at the same height, allowing the stick to do most of the work. Those would be taps to some people. They may also be series strokes to some people. For me, I call those series strokes, but sometimes I use the word tap because it's easier for students to understand, oh, taps are low. If you feel like you understand the series stroke, your next step is to move on and learn the other two main stroke types, the downstroke and the upstroke. If you found this video useful, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe to the TheDrumStuds YouTube channel. You can also check out TheDrumStuds.com for more information how to get you started off right and then off the left.